What's up, guys? I'm Garrett Heisinger, and today we are with recording artist Clark Beckham. Before we get to hear some of his new songs, we're going to hear the heart behind his music. So Clark, you were born here in Nashville. Mm-hmm. How does growing up in the music capital of the world influence you as a person?
That's a great question. I was born in East Nashville, and then really was raised in White House, which is, like you said, about 30 minutes north of here. And it is a music city, and it is the music capital of the world. Country is certainly king, and so the influence was, I guess, more of the volume of music that was around rather than the style, because I don't sing country at all. My dad is from California and grew up playing in the 60s and 70s, and so I have a lot of that influence. And then my mom raised me on a lot of oldies music when I was really young, just growing up, like in the car and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I guess the influence was really just that it was very musical. All the churches had really great music and a lot of opportunities. But country somehow didn't rub off on me so much as far as the style goes. But I certainly have a love for country as well. But there's no other city that I'd rather grow up in.
So who are some artists that influenced your passion and ignited your passion for music early on?
Well, that's a good question. Specifically, like who are artists that inspired like passion? Because there's a lot of artists that inspired like style and types of music that I play. But honestly, the moment that I realized that I had to do music, like it wasn't just a hobby, but I had to do it, was actually singing an Alan Stone song. And it was the full band. Yeah. And we did his song called Satisfaction for a band like competition, like a Battle of the Bands type of thing in college.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a really high energy, soulful song. And the band was killing. And so the first person that comes to mind is Alan Stone. As far as general influence vocally, my dad is number one, which is cool, but most people don't know how my dad sings. So the closest I could relate to him would be kind of like Ray Charles. Ray Charles is probably my number one vocal influence outside of my dad. Marvin Gaye, Al Green, Sam Cooke. And then as far as instrumentally, chordally, with Billy Joel would be way up there in the Beatles. Yeah. But those are kind of my Mount Rushmore of people, I guess.
So you would say that your passion for music didn't really start until college?
Yeah. I mean, I had passion for it, but it wasn't like I'm going to die if I don't do music until that moment, until college. Before, it was just like a very passionate hobby, but I was okay if it never happened as a career. Sure. After that experience at the Battle of the Bands, after that, then it was like, I will not be okay if I don't do music. Yeah. It was, most people are like, since I was 5, but for me it was later.
Especially growing up here in, Music City, just north of Music City, that's...
Yeah. And I think it was also from my dad being in music and being very successful in the music business. I knew from him that it's not a meritocracy where if you're good, you're going to get a job. Like the best gets the job. It's not like that. Right. It's so much luck involved, and there's so many things that have to go right. And so I kind of knew from a realistic standpoint, like I know I'm good enough to be successful, but there's so many other factors. So I just kind of had a passive mentality until college. Then it kicked into gear.
That's awesome. That's cool. Definitely unique.
Yeah.
So back in 2014, 2015, you were on American Idol, season 14, and you finished as a runner-up. Yep. How was that experience, and what's the biggest takeaway? What's the biggest thing you learned from that whole thing?
The experience in general was wonderful. A lot of people ask that with kind of like expecting me to be like, it's stupid, it was horrible, or it's not what it looks like. A lot of people want to hear that about reality shows. But my experience was wonderful. The producers treated me and the contestants around me, from my observation, with a lot of respect and treated us very well. Was very lucky to have that opportunity and attribute a lot of my success today to American Idol. My number one takeaway is it's literal. A literal takeaway are the relationships that I made, but also being around such a culture of musical excellence around Ricky Minor and the band, and then of course the vocal coaches and the arrangement coaches, and even the grips and the camera men and women, and like everyone at that level, they're all the best in the world. Because basically a reality show like American Idol has the biggest budget in the world, so they hire the best people in the world, and everything's the best in the world. Everybody's the best in the world. And so being around that culture made me raise the standard that I had for myself, that I still hold. So that's probably the biggest takeaway.
I think that says a lot about you and your character too, because being around the best can be intimidating, can make people shy down and be insecure. So how did you rise to that occasion? How did you raise your bar?
Yeah, it's a very good point. A lot of times when you get around people who are so much better than you, there's two options. There's one of like, oh, okay, kind of like you said, like cower and be like, oh, okay, I'm not, and kind of drop it.
Right.
Or just work hard to not just be at the level, because I could have worked for 20 years and still not be at the level of Ricky Minor or Teddy Campbell or Paul Jackson Jr., like some of the guys in the band or those different people. But it's just being inspired, and the best position to be in is when you're the worst in the room. Like, you're gonna get better much faster than everybody else if you're the worst in the room.
Sure.
And to actually rise to that and enjoy that experience and being okay to just fall on your face and know that you're the worst in the room. I experienced that in college. I went to Lee University, and I don't know if you know anything about Lee, but it's very, very musical. Like, the telecommunications majors are better musicians than most of the music majors at other schools. Like, everybody's just really musical. And I went there thinking that I was already really musical and really good. And I went to Lee and was like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible at piano. Yeah. I'm terrible at guitar. I can sing very average compared to all these people. And instead of being afraid and running away from it, which a lot of people did that I saw would do that, I was just like, well, there's no choice here. I guess I'm just going to fall on my face and be the worst in the room for a while.
Right.
But I think we face that in everyday life outside of music, like what you guys are doing, like in film. And like many times, if you're ever a part of a production or part of a project that's much bigger and better than you are,
yeah,
you are at such an advantage because you're going to grow so much faster than if you were to do a project that was kind of within your comfort zone and that you know well and you're the best in the room. You're not really going to grow as much. It's a very long answer, but we really have the opportunity when we're the worst in the room to take the advantage or cower and miss out.
All right, so during your time on Idol, you sang 3 different Stevie Wonder songs.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the 3 were?
Yes. Superstition, Living for the City, and then in Group Round, Signed, Sealed, Delivered.
Right. So is there any reason why you chose to sing Stevie Wonder 3 different times?
Well, first of all, Stevie Wonder, I said earlier that my big influence for chords and melody was Billy Joel and the Beatles, which is absolutely true, but Stevie's probably the top spot. I don't know why I left him out, didn't think about it.
I was waiting on it.
Yeah, well, I should have said it because it's true. He's someone I grew up listening to from my mom, and just tore apart his music books. Like when I was learning music and discovering chord changes and substitutions and key changes and all the theory stuff, he was kind of my textbook, like all of his songs. And so I knew a lot of Stevie Wonder songs. For Group Round, we decided, let's pick the song with the least amount of lyrics because everybody forgets the words. And it's a soulful song, and we all kind of knew it. I still forgot my words. Jay Nunn is another guy in the group. He forgot his words, even though we never forgot our words in rehearsal. Anyway,
that's how it goes.
And then Superstition, I wanted to do that like guitar solo harmony scat thing that I did, and then Living for the City, and I just knew a lot of Stevie Wonder songs, Soulful and Big, and a lot of the band used to play for Stevie Wonder. Really? So the horn players, a lot of them are Stevie Wonder horn players. So the band knocks those songs out of the park because they played them with Stevie Wonder.
Right.
And he's a hero of mine. So I think he was. I don't think I sang anyone's songs as much as I did Stevie's on the show, but that's why.
Yeah, that's cool. So I've heard some names thrown out there of some artists you've worked with. Who is your favorite artist that you've gotten to work with?
Gosh, that's difficult. The person that comes to mind, it's funny, one person came to mind, and then I started that sentence in another person, and then by the end another person came. So I'll just tell you the three people that came to mind.
All right.
First person came to mind was Jason Derulo. When I was on Idol, he was a mentor, and a lot of times when I sing, I sang Make It Rain. Make it rain, make it, real like soulful, slow 6/8 screaming song. And a lot of times when I sing hard and I sing soulful, I could sing it 90% and everyone would be like, wow, that was great.
Right.
And that's kind of what was happening. And then Jason, like when I was singing, I was singing in the shoot for the mentor session with Jason, and Scott Borchetta was there too. And I remember I was like, I am crushing. Like I'm killing it. I feel like 10 out of 10 right now. And everybody was like, wow, looking around. And then Scott was looking at Jason like, right? And Jason, the whole time I was singing, was just staring at me like this. Just kind of like, and just wasn't really reacting big. And he wouldn't settle for my 90%. He was like, he went more on the emotion of the song. And he's like, there's a lyric in there that says, the pain of my mother. He goes, I want you to feel the pain of your mother when you sing Pain of Your Mother. And immediately he was like, right at the end of the song, I think the first thing he said was, you're a spiritual guy, right? I was like, yeah. And he goes, you sing this song like a prayer. And I was like, that's cool. And he goes, don't do that. He goes, you need to preach this song. You need to sing this song like a preacher and preach the word of this song. I was like, whoa. And then I did it again, and it was maybe one of the best times I've sung in my whole life. Better than I did on the actual performance, better than any time I remember in my room by myself. Like after he was telling me that, and then I did that, and in that moment, he really took me to a new level, and we connected pretty well. He's someone I thought of. Kelly Clarkson was another mentor that was really incredible. And then the third was Nile Rodgers, who is a legendary producer and guitar player, and he showed me some chords when I was arranging Sunday Morning, and he's like, you could actually do the tritone with this, and I was like, this is so cool that he's telling me this, and I'm actually working this song out in this mentor session like I've never seen anybody do. So those are the three people that come to mind.
That's really cool. That's awesome to be able to work like with big artists that you listen to their music and you actually get to be hands-on and learn from them. Very
cool. And it's also to learn that everybody's people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like everybody's just a person. And of course, he's not an artist necessarily, even though he has his own albums out and stuff, but he's more known as a producer. Quincy Jones is probably the big name. And quickly I'll say about him, people ask me a lot of time, like, what's his secret? Like, what'd you learn?
Sure.
And I think his secret that I've noticed, I'm pretty confident, beyond his musical genius and his work ethic, would be he just adores people, genuinely adores people.
That's awesome.
And treats people well. You can't find a single person on the planet, I don't think, that can say something bad about an interaction they had with him. He's just a kind person, and it's totally real. And that's what I experienced with him. And I've been very fortunate, very blessed to work with these legends.
That's awesome. Well, I think that wraps it up for our questions.
Cool.
You ready to preview some new songs?
Ready to go.
Let's do it.
Cool.